Boy, God, do I have some stories to tell you guys of what transpired for me, like, over the past, I would say, 12 hours since last night. It really started at, like, 3:30 in the morning, and I'll probably save that for the end of this stream, but, gee, it has been a crazy day. I didn't sleep basically at all last night because of what happened, and don't worry, it's nothing like threatening or anything like that. It was just freaking power wise. But yeah. So we didn't do a Phillies stream last night because obviously the game was just completely uneventful. It was so bad. The offense once again looked piss poor, and Aaron Nola only went 5 innings, allowed 2 earned runs. Once again, gets no run support. Only, he walked a run with the bases loaded, but still only allowed 2 runs. The bullpen did their job, just couldn't produce anything on the few chances that you did get, and you barely hit last night. Today was a little bit better. Christopher Sanchez was really good, went into the 7th inning. Your bullpen shut things down. You got some early hitting. You got some hitting with runners in scoring position, but still left a lot to be desired, where the run total could have been a little bit more. You could have added on more insurance so the bullpen maybe doesn't have to stress out. But I guess you could say baby steps. But when I look at these past, I guess, 2 series so far, and tomorrow obviously is the series finale in St. Louis with Zach Wheeler on the bump, so you do have a chance to win this series, probably the best possible chance that you do get. You better hope the fucking offense shows up. So it's the red flags. Yeah, the red flags with the offense are already showing. I try to stay as positive as possible, but it's just, when you do have that lingering doubt in the back of your mind, like I do have, and I do think it is a big enough sample size right now, specifically talking about that you're 5 series into the season, to where you could probably judge what the team is. Now, obviously, it can get a lot better, it can get a lot worse, so I'm not saying this is like all set in stone and all that, but it doesn't help but be frustrating with the way that the offense just looks. It kind of feels like when you're describing this offense, they're overly relying, I guess, on your high-end talent veterans and basically nothing else. And it kind of does sound similar to a conversation that we had about the Philadelphia Eagles during their 2-2 start, where it only felt like their wins were coming because high-end talent was saving their asses. So it really feels very similar to that conversation. Now, I don't know if this is going to end up in the Phillies turning it around miraculously and going on an insane run toward the end of the season and winning a World Series. I don't know if that's going to be the case, but it sounds like a very similar conversation. Specifically, you're overly relying on your high-end talent to win you games, and right now it just does not feel sustainable with the flaws that are in your lineup specifically. Your pitching is going to be your pitching. Jesus Luzardo is always going to be looking good. Zach Wheeler is going to be Zach Wheeler. Christopher Sanchez will be Christopher Sanchez. Now, you can't guarantee Taijuan Walker is going to be giving you scoreless outings. He's eventually going to have a bad outing. Aaron Nola, I do think it does get better for him, but still, he's not getting run support whatsoever. I still trust Aaron Nola at the end of the day. It's just offense. That's what we got to talk about. So before we get into the rest of this, I know that was a very long opening monologue, but what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to TTP Sports. If you are new to the channel, I definitely recommend that you do hit that subscribe button. It does me such a great deal of service with the YouTube algorithm. You can also drop a like. You can also leave a comment in the comment section down below. You can also use the code TTP Sports, $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. Great deal. Do not pass it up. You can also leave a follow at TTP Sports on TikTok and Instagram for real shorts and all the good stuff. So the Phillies, they split the first 2 games here in the series against the St. Louis Cardinals. Last night, they were shut out 2-0, where Aaron Nola went 5 innings, allowed 2 earned runs, walked a lot of guys, walked in the bases loaded run, and that was basically the entirety of the offense for the St. Louis Cardinals, and the Phillies offense was just basically non-existent. The Phillies offense only had 3 hits in last night's game. 3 of those hits came from Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, and Nick Castellanos. And last night, we saw another change in the lineup because Rob Thompson is trying to use a philosophy to get more protection for Bryce Harper in that cleanup spot, because basically everybody besides Kyle Schwarber, who has been placed in that cleanup spot, has not done anything. Specifically, Alec Bohm and Nick Castellanos in his one chance where he struck out 5 times on the final game against the Atlanta Braves. So they put Kyle Schwarber back there. He seems to be having the most success in the cleanup spot, so I think that's where it's going to stay right now. But Bryson Stott moved up to the leadoff spot, and Not the biggest fan of that. No knock on Bryson Stott. I just don't think he's a leadoff caliber hitter. I just don't think that's what he is. I know he's going to grind out at bats. I know he's going to have some hits here and there. He's going to have a solid average, but his analytics always aren't going to back up his offense, and it just doesn't look the best, in my opinion. Now, he hasn't been nowhere near as bad as Alec Bohm and Brandon Marsh, but I still don't think a solution is getting Bryson Stott the most at bats in every single game. So that's still something they really have to tweak around with. I understand the philosophy of wanting to get Bryce Harper more protection in the cleanup spot behind him, and that does kind of show a little bit of the continuous, growth of Rob Thompson, to where he's trying to be, he's trying to get behind all these situations. He's trying to find solutions early. He's not waiting for things to, really take forever. Now, that you can also argue that why isn't he putting Edmundo Sosa in the lineup? Why isn't Cody Clemens even getting a chance? I have no idea. But Rob is trying to find solutions with the guys that he has, and right now this is what he has for the time being. Today's game was definitely a little bit better, but yesterday's game was just completely ugly. Aaron Nola in last night's loss, 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 7 strikeouts. He walked in a run with the bases loaded. He was far from the issue. He only allowed 2 earned runs. The offense didn't do anything for him. Bullpen comes in, Ruiz, Hernandez, and Banks. They all did their jobs. Palante for the Cardinals struck out 4, went 7 innings, allowed 2 hits, walked 2. He wasn't good. The Phillies just didn't do anything to touch him. Stott went 0 for 4. Harper went 0 for 3 with a walk. Kepler went 0 for 3. Bohm went 0 for 3. Marsh went 0 for 2 with a walk, and Marchand went 0 for 3. They didn't have any chances. They did have chances. They went 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position, and they left 5 runners on base. Yesterday's game was just completely ugly. It was not a fun watch. And I'm glad that I chose to watch Friday Night SmackDown and put the Phillies onto the phone on YouTube TV. That's where I'm more happy on that case. So, SmackDown, definitely more entertaining leading up to WrestleMania. But if we look at the entirety of last night's game, top of the first inning, get a 2-out walk from Bryce Harper and a 2-out single from Kyle Schwarber, which eventually they went to second and third base. Castellanos then lined out to end the inning. Top second, the Phillies go down 1-2-3. Top third, the Phillies go down 1-2-3. Top four, after a Nick Castellanos 2-out single, nothing happens there. Top five, after a walk by Brandon March, which he does eventually get the second base on a pickoff error, nothing happens. He does move the third on the ground out, but still nothing happens. Bottom five, that's when the Cardinals make it 2-0 after a Pozo or RBI double. After an infield single, becomes 1-0 Cardinals. Eventually, Nola walks the bases loaded with 2 outs, walks in a run, and that's the only runs for the entire game. Phillies in the top of the 6th, they go down 1-2-3. Phillies in the top of the 7th, they go down 1-2-3. Top of the 8th, they go down 1-2-3. And the top of the 9th, after a Trader Turner leadoff single, okay, you got the heart of your order up. You got Bryce Harper, Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos up next. Nothing happens. Nothing happens with the tying run. Well, the tying run at the plate, basically. So yesterday's game was just terrible. Just terrible, and I want to completely forget it. It's just, they didn't strike out that much. It's just not good at bats, just looking horrible at the plate. They walked twice. They only struck out 4 times as a team. But it's just, they're not getting hits with runners on. That's the major issue. They don't have issues getting on base. Their issues are driving in the runners. That's their biggest issue, and was a huge problem during the Braves series. I believe they were like 4 for 27 with runners in scoring position or something like that. It wasn't good. It wasn't good at all, and it's continuing on into this series. And if you go into today's game, yeah, definitely a lot better on that perspective. They had 8 hits today. They won 4-1. Christopher Sanchez was really good. He went 6 1/3, 8 hits, 1 earned run, 2 walks, 3 strikeouts. He got into some situations with base runners, but that also helps when the Cardinals ground out into a billion double plays, because that's what they did. They grounded out into, I believe, 5 double plays, 4 of those when Christopher Sanchez was on the mound, and I believe the other double play was when Jordan Romano came on the mound. So, yeah, the Cardinals bats definitely were doing their best Phillies impression today in terms of not being able to hit with runners in scoring position. So, Sanchez got a lot of help by his defense. Trey Turner made some very good plays over at shortstop to start those double plays. Same thing with Bryson Stott. And, yeah, that helped you in that case. But offensively, You scored a lot. You scored 4 runs, but still left a lot to be desired. You went 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. You got early runs for once in the top of the first inning. Bryce Harper singles with 2 outs. Schwarber walks. He kind of got lucky because the umpire called a ball where it wasn't a strike zone. And then Nick Castellanos doesn't chase the outside slider on a 0-2 count. And then the pitch that he gets down the middle of the plate, he crushes into the gap, which scores 2 runs, becomes a double. So, not swinging at the outside slider, you take advantage of it. That's the craziness of Nick Castellanos and what makes him so frustrating. But thankfully, he laid it off and drove in those runs. So it's a 2-0 Phillies lead. So bottom of the first inning, after a leadoff walk, there's your first double play for the Cardinals there after Baker grounds into there. Top second for the Phillies, nothing happens. Bottom second, another double play for the Cardinals to end the inning. Top third, nothing for the Phillies. They go down 1-2-3. Another double play, inning-ending double play for the Cardinals as Baker grounds into the second double play of the game for him. Top of the fourth for the Phillies. They go down 1-2-3. Bottom 4 for the Cardinals. They go down 1-2-3. Top 5 for the Phillies. That's when they tack on another run. Brandon Marsh, he walks with 2 outs on 4 pitches, which is fucking surprising. I was not expecting that whatsoever. And then Bryson Stott doubles down the right field line, getting a little bit of help from Jordan Walker because he tracked the ball completely terribly, and he let it go all the way to the wall, and it allowed Brandon Marsh to circle the bases to score the 3rd run of the game for the Phillies, so that helps there. Bottom 5 for the Cardinals, they grounded to another inning double play. So Sanchez gets help from his defense again. Top 6 for the Phillies, more chances to drive home some runs. Schwarber with a walk, Castellanos with a single, Kepler grounded to a fielder's choice, which moves him over the 2nd and 3rd, and then JT flies out. Bottom 6 for the Cardinals, Baker doubles, Contreras singles to drive in a run, makes it 3-1 Phillies, and then eventually Sanchez does get out of the inning. Top 7 for the Phillies, Bohm actually fucking gets on base. Reaches it on an infield single, basically just hit it into the perfect spot of the infield. Jesus fucking Christ, it's about time. Still not pretty. Not pretty whatsoever. Marsh, sacrifice, moves Bohm over to second base. Bryson Stott, fly out, advances Bohm to third there. And then Trey Turner, 2-0 count, singles in the left center field. Drives home Bohm, makes it 4-1 Phillies. Bottom 7, Christopher Sanchez still on the mound. A 1-out walk and a 1-out single with 2 runners on. Rob Thompson elects to go to the bullpen, brings in a Ryan Kerkeren. He gets the last 2 guys out there. Top 8 for the Phillies. They have a chance here to add on some more runs with Steven Matz on the mound for so long. I believe he was around like 30-plus, 40-plus pitches. They were just letting him work. Schwarber leadoff single, Castellanos double, and then Kepler strikes out on the full count. Cardinals go to the bullpen. They bring in Munoz. JT strikes out in the full count. And then Alec Bohm strikes out in a 2-2 count. Just 3 very poor at-bats to where you could have tacked on to your lead. Bottom 8 for the Phillies, Jordan Romano comes up, gets the first out. Contreras, infield single, goes off of Romano's glove, and Trey Turner just couldn't get the play there on time. But then Arenado grounded to a double play. Great play by Trey Turner to force that to happen. Top 9 for the Phillies, they go down 1-2-3. Bottom 9 for the Cardinals, Jose Alvarado out there on the mound. Retires them actually fairly quickly. He only threw like 11 pitches in this game. So for once, Alvarado throws an inning, but gets a save where he's under 15 pitches. So maybe he can rest his arm he could be available for tomorrow. So thanks. Thanks, Jose. Good on you. And the other stat lines for the pitchers: Kerkering, 2 1/3 innings, 1 strikeout, 8 pitches, 6 strikes. Jordan Romano, he looked solid once again. Thanks to the double play as well. He only threw 5 pitches, but the velocity is up there for him still in back-to-back outings, so hopefully that is a sign of good things to come for him. And then Alvarado, 1 inning, 1 strikeout, 11 pitches there, 9 strikes, so just classic Jose Alvarado stuff. And then looking at the lineup as a whole, just look at the top of the lineup here, the 1 through 5. Bryson Stott 1 for 5 with an RBI. Trey Turner 1 for 5 with an RBI. Bryce Harper 1 for 4. Kyle Schwarber 1 for 2 with 2 walks and a run scored. Nick Castellanos 3 for 4 with 2 doubles and 2 RBIs. But then look at the bottom of the lineup. Max Kepler 0 for 4. JT Realmuto 0 for 4. Alec Bohm 1 for 4. That's only an infield single. He didn't even get the ball out of the infield. Even though there are at bats where he does hit the ball hard and he doesn't get rewarded for it, but still it's a result-based business at this rate. And then Brandon Marsh 0 for 2 with a walk. Phillies go 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position. So, you got to win. You got to win. You've split the series so far. Now it's your turn to win the series tomorrow with your ace on the mound, and you better get the win tomorrow with Zach Wheeler on the mound. So you just gotta. You just gotta. Just gotta. Sorry, I'm sending a text message. We ordered food here, and I'm getting the text message update, so I just gotta let the family know that the order is on the way. So you basically just gotta. It's just the red flags in this lineup, and when I brought that up earlier, relying on the high-end talent veterans to basically carry the weight for you, you're relying a lot on Bryce Harper, you're relying a lot on Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, Nick Castellanos, like those guys specifically. JT Realmuto, he's still like the high-end vet, but he's kind of washed at this point offensively. He's not going to be the same kind of guy. So you're really just relying on those top four, and then whatever Brandon Marsh, Alec Bohm, Brandon Marsh, they're not providing you anything. Max Kepler, he got off to a little bit of a hot start. He's cooled off since. Really hasn't been anything with the slugging and the extra base hits or anything like that. So he's been very underwhelming. It's basically just your top four guys or nothing. Yeah, Bryson Stott chips in here and there, but not enough for my liking. So you're really just relying on Trey Turner, Bryce, Castellanos, and Schwarber. You need way more contribution from your lineup. Because when those guys get on base, the Turners, the Harpers, the Schwarbers, the Castellanoses, you got to learn to drive those guys in. Because when those guys get on base, it's basically nothing for everybody else. Bohm can't get anything going. Kepler can't get anything going. JT, Marsh, Stott here and there. It's not enough, though. Those guys can't be carrying the entire workload of the offense because you're not going to sustain like that. Now, does it get better? I have no clue. It can't be this bad for the rest of the season, can it? But I've been proven wrong before. It's just got to get way better. It's got to get totally better. It's just the red flags that are there as for past few seasons. Top guys are doing everything possible. Lineup, they just can't get the hits with runners on. It's the same song and dance routine right now. And yes, it's still very early for them to really kick things into gear. They have a chance to win another series. That'll be like 4 out of 5 series won. So it's still a good thing there. It's just red flags. It's red flags. That's the problem. That is the major problem at the end of the day there. So it's just something to monitor. It's something to monitor. And, we know the starting pitching is going to be the starting pitching. It's the best thing about this team with the top four in the rotation. And then hopefully eventually when Ranger Suarez does come back and they'll make a decision between him and Taijuan Walker. The bullpen's always going to be the question marks, but if Jordan Romano is starting to figure it out, that would be very, 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 very helpful for this bullpen because he has looked solid in his past few outings. The fastball velocity is back there, so I'm not sure what caused the dip in the velocity, but we'll see where it continues at. So for tomorrow's game, it's Zach Wheeler going up against Matthew Liberatore. He's 0-1 with a 5.84 ERA. No walks, 11 strikeouts, 14 hits allowed, just hasn't been good. In his 2 starts, he allowed 5 earned runs to the Pirates, and he allowed 3 earned runs to the Los Angeles Angels. So it's another guy that you should hit against, but it's also a lefty on the mound, so it most likely will be the Trey Turner leadoff lineup. That most likely is going to be the case right there. So, gotta get a series win. Zach Wheeler bounce back from his start against the Atlanta Braves, and hopefully he just picks it up and just shoves because can't trust his offense to score in bunches right now. Just cannot. And I believe that was the delivery guy. So my food is probably here, but we'll stay on for a little bit to finish this off. Got some guys here in the chat. We got some calls here. So we'll get to your calls. We got Sean. We got a couple from Zach. And then I'll tell you what happened with the electricity. So might as well get to the calls. Here. So let me bring that up, get to the calls, and then we'll cue it out.
Now, today's game encapsulates how the Phillies have to win throughout this season. The pitching has to be dominant. The defense has to make a couple plays and field their position solidly on routine plays. And the offense has to do just enough because right now the offense is pretty bad. I mean, it's amazing that the Phillies' record is what it is, considering that almost half their lineup can basically be classified as an automatic out right now. Christopher Sanchez, that was old school pitching today. get guys on, but turn the double play and get out of it. And the bullpen did their job. And now we look ahead to tomorrow. The spotlight to me is on Zach Wheeler. You let a win slip away from you last start when the team did put up 5 runs. You got a pitching matchup on paper, not that games are won and lost on paper, but you would favor the Phillies tomorrow. So you've got to go out there. If your team can scrape across even 3 runs, you've got to make that stand up. You have to be an ace. You have to dominate the Cardinals, and you have to try to make this road trip a 500 trip going back to Philly. But a nice job today, nice job by the pitching and the defense at least. But Thompson's got to shake that lineup up tomorrow. I'm even willing at this point, lefty or not, to put Cody Clemens out there. Can he be any worse than what they're rolling out as of late? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't know why Cody Clemens has not made an appearance yet. I really don't know why that's the case. I don't know. I don't know why he hasn't made an appearance at all. It's weird. It's just completely weird why he has not made an appearance. Now, so yeah, I do expect Zach Wheeler to bounce back tomorrow. He's too good of a pitcher to have 2 bad outings in a row, in my opinion. Even though a lot of people more blame it on the Rojas play, but Zach Wheeler still out home runs. So I do expect him to bounce back, though. So we got 2 calls here from Zach. One's 3 minutes, and one's 1 minute and 12. Zach, you got to keep those calls short, man. I know you probably didn't mean to. I know you probably just rambled, but got to keep those short. Got to keep those short. And as he's sending more text messages in as well. Jesus. Let's see. What does this call say? The first one's 3 minutes.
Hey, how's it going, Amadeo? Figured I'll leave the longer call here just to break down Game 1 and 2.
Okay.
Game 1, not much to talk about. Kind of figured, I didn't think they'd be that bad offensively, but you kind of figured they were going to lose that one after being up until, well, God knows how long, and playing until 1 in the morning in Atlanta. So that's that. But Aaron Nola, he was decent to good. He still hasn't reached that form that I think we all hope he can. His velo has been down. Don't expect that to continue, but, not his fault. Of course, people are going to rip him because he's Aaron Nola.
Of course.
Even though the team didn't put up a run at 3 hits. But, not much to talk about in that one. And today, I liked most of what I saw today. Christopher Sanchez is pretty darn good.
Mm-hmm.
But velo is up. I think he touched 98 one time. So that's a good sign. For the lineup, you had Stott and Turner, each with a hit and an RBI up at the top of the order. Nice to see. I hope Brycey Stott can sort of flourish in that position, top of the order. It'd be nice because we really need Kyle in the 4-hole. Nicky was the player of the game, man. 3 hits, a big double to start off in the top of the inning. The Phillies actually scored runs in the first inning of a baseball game. Might be time to go buy the lottery tickets or something. I don't know, man. That just doesn't happen this year. But Bone at least got a hit today. Still didn't look good. March did work a walk that led to Stott's double, which is an RBI. So, give him props for that, but still looked ugly today. Each of them had 2 strikeouts. So, I just don't know when they're ever going to pull out of it, but it needs to happen at some point.
Yep.
This just cannot continue.
I agree.
And for another positive, let's say the defense has been pretty darn good to start the season. Trey Turner and Bryson Stott in the middle infield, especially Trey improving. He's got a lot of criticism over shortstop, but 5 double plays today, that's just unheard of. You just never see that. And that's big for your pitcher, for Christopher Sanchez, to keep him in the game. Saves his arm, saves some pitches. So you like to see it. And all in all, good win. You did have that 1 inning where I think we got, 2nd and 3rd with no outs and 3 straight strikeouts. So, of course, Phillies have to piss you off some way, and that really pisses me off because, come on, man. You just can't have that. But that's Phillies baseball for you.
if that's where he gets cut off. So let's get to the final part.
I'm going to take your time for a little longer here. I promise this call won't be nearly as long as the last one. Well, I just wanted to touch on the bullpen looked good. Romano looks like he's got his velo back. Just nice to see him have a clean inning. You know, Kirk Green was pretty solid. Yeah, was he the one that gave up the earned seat? What happens when you're not prepared? Nope. Longer Sanchez. Anyway,
No, Sanchez gave it the lone run.
Jose is nasty, man. This guy, when he is on, is untouchable.
Yep.
Gotta love Jose Alvarado. And last thing I want to say, I just want to give props to Nick Castellanos. I already did in my first call, but, you know, this 5 strikeout game, that's just not Nick. You know, he does tend to swing and miss a lot, but he's a professional. Like, he's just able to stay even keeled. You know, if he has a bad game, he puts it behind him. He just works for the next game. And you got to love that from Nick Castellanos. You know, Alec Bohm could never do that. Not to throw shade, but that's exactly what I just did. So,
That's true.
Shout out to Nick Castellanos. Gotta love the guy. And let's take that series tomorrow.
Yep.
No Phillies. Peace.
Yep. Take the series tomorrow. Yeah, good summary of the entire series there, Zach. I do appreciate it, but yeah, next time try not to go past 3 minutes like all. That was funny. That was funny. But yeah, Zach Wheeler on the mound. You do have favor there to win the series. Maybe the offense gets something from today. I'm not sure. Maybe this is like a stretch where the offense just goes off. I don't know. I can't guarantee anything because it's the Phillies. You can't guarantee shit with them. So. Got some guys in the chat here. Oh, yeah, I might as well tell you guys about what happened last night. So, like I said, I wasn't going to do the Phillies stream just because of the way the game went and also just it being an afternoon game today. So, it was around... So I think you guys saw like my recent streams for the past week that the lights in my room have been flickering on and off, like just like dimming and then getting brighter again. So... I guess the house finally took the toll on like around 3:30 where downstairs there was like a couple of popping noises and then just like a couple of power surges went throughout the house, and then we were trying to figure out what was going on. My parents thought it was the TV, but no, it was the electric fireplace that popped and just burnt out basically. And then we tried to figure out what else was going on. The basement, same thing happened. Like one of the power surges wasn't working, or the surge protectors wasn't working. The same thing with the surge protector that had all my stuff plugged in here for my computer. You know, that wasn't working. That looked like it got burnt out. I thought it was my air conditioner causing everything. So it was. So basically, like when I told you guys so the way that everything went down yesterday, like. We basically had to shut the breaker off just because the lights just kept flickering and flickering and flickering, and we were just getting so nervous that something was going to pop or something like a fire was going to start. So we shut the breaker off. My father called the electrician that helped work on the deck to fix the wiring back there, and what we found out was when they built the new deck, they put some lights up there, and the electrician put some new wires for those lights near the electric box that we have out back. And I guess those brand new wires mixed in with the very old wires in the very old electric box was just forcing those old wires to consume way too much power than they needed to, and that just caused the wiring in the house just to go completely nuts. So he replaced the electric box, everything there, put a brand new one out there, and now everything's fine. It's funny too, I didn't know if I was going to be able to do the stream today because I didn't have a surge protector to use, because the surge protector that I had last night during the entire power outage got fried. It got fried when the power surges happened. So basically right as the Phillies game ended, Amazon the delivery came with the surge protectors that we ordered. So it was definitely a weird night. I didn't get any sleep. I woke up at 3:30. We were basically up for like 2 hours after that trying to figure out what the hell was going on, and then we didn't turn the power off until like 4:35. So we were up for a little bit. It's been a long day. So it was crazy. But we got power now. The wiring's not a problem anymore for now. So it's crazy stuff. There's some arson. We're not trying to do arson stuff. It's just the guy. It's not the electrician's fault. It's just, it's an old house. It's an old house that had an old electric box. You put new wires in with old wires. It just didn't work. It just didn't mesh well, and that's what caused everything. So everything's fixed now. We're good. We're good. We're good. So we're good to go. And now my lights in my room are not flickering. So you don't have to worry about that. So that'll do it for tonight, everybody. I gotta go downstairs and get my food. We ordered from a new burger place that opened like a couple of blocks away, so we're gonna try that out. So appreciate you guys for tuning in as always. We'll have a stream tomorrow recapping tomorrow's Phillies game and all that stuff. We do have a Flyers question in here actually from Michael talking about Buium and all that stuff. Whatever happens with Buium and Luchenko right now. I know the Flyers won again today, so a lot of people are still pissed. I'm still annoyed. Don't get me wrong. I want them to lose as much as possible. It's not worth putting the energy in at this rate. There's a lot of like scenarios out there. Like one of the guys that I follow, the Alexander Appleyard guy that does a lot of the European prospects and covers the Flyers. He basically said at this point it's going to be really impossible for the Flyers to fall past the 6th pick unless, bearing anything else. So they're basically picking 5 or 6th at this rate. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens with them. So appreciate you guys for tuning in and listening to my sob story from last night. So don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. Don't forget to drop a like. Don't forget to hit those subscribe button. Does me a great deal of service. Everything else, code TTP Sports at SeatGeek. Follow at TTP Sports on TikTok and Instagram. Thanks, guys.